Hey guys, welcome back. It's Lucid. I'm here with Maryland.
Hi, guys.
And we've got a shit show that's about to start. Last episode, we didn't have a ton of messages. This episode, it looks like we've got basically an essay coming in from Pangaea, and then most other players chiming in, followed by a shit ton of battles. So
It's going to be busy. But I think we ended up at the end of last episode thinking it's going to get busy.
right, because Pangaea was mixing things up a lot. They were kind of, in many ways, the game state was favorable for Pangaea to make a play on end.
Yes.
But it depends on Vanheim, and it looks like Vanheim is going to make a move.
Oh, look at that. We can see it. Okay.
So first, a message from the Honorable Divine Emperor of Pythium. Pythium here. Suppose this is my last message I'll be sending, unless something extraordinary happens. But I was hoping to put up a better fight at the end with my assassins, but sadly the lab burned down.
I remember that was, 4 turns ago, I think.
Yeah. Overall thoughts on the game. Might be my pretender choice was ill-considered. I'm not entirely sure just relying on gladiators was good enough against Vanheim. That said, planning for Van, both bordering me and going for a big bless in a 16-player game might have been devoting resources to something that might not have been relevant. Oh, planning for a Vanheim bordering me and going for a big bless. Okay. I also think that I've been able to devote, had I been able to devote all my resources to dealing with Van, I could have performed much better against him. A failure in Diplo in the end, I suppose. Speaking of, lots of minor mistakes on my part in the early part of the war with Xibalba. I think I could have pulled through if I managed to keep Van off my ass. More minor mistakes when defending Xibalba from taking my cap at the end, though I'm more satisfied with my performance in that regard than the early part of the war.
If I remember his early game, he ended up having some not outrageous, but a little bit too high attrition, and I think that cost him.
Yeah.
There was 2 of the players that died early or were removed early that ended up with attrition on the too high side by taking a little too risky expansion, and that was Mictlan and Pythium. But if I also remember correctly, a little bit of Vanheim also took a few really high risk expansions that failed.
Yeah, so, Vanheim did too.
So that doesn't always screw you, but sometimes it does.
Well, I think I think the problem with Pythium's play at the beginning was I loved what he did at the very beginning when he did a double expand using gladiators. I loved that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What I didn't love was when he kept using gladiators as primary combatants rather than as like support for expansion parties.
And we talked about that quite a bit. You know, keeping them. We talked about maybe having them at the very back line so that if you win the fight quick, they don't get wasted.
Right.
But if you need them, they come in.
Right. Or, putting just how many you need to deal with heavy cav or something like that.
Right. But a number of things like that.
I mean, he would use so many that even if he won the fight, he lost. He was losing
20 or
like
30, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he would be losing a couple hundred gold in a fight.
Right. You just can't sustain that.
Yeah. And all of that might have been okay, but then he had that one bump against Vanheim, where Vanheim basically thought there might be a bump and all in, and he 2 province moved a ton of troops from his capital.
Right.
And crushed Pythium. And after that, combined with the other problems Pythium was having, there was just no digging himself out of that hole. Especially, I mean, the problem too is against good players, you put yourself in a big hole. Good players smell blood. And good luck getting, he said I could have done better diplomacy. The diplomacy, you can't do good diplomacy when good players know they can kill you. Is the thing.
When you're playing against really competent players and in a high competition game, small errors stack up.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can recover from that kind of small errors. I know lately I've been having a lot of games with a lot of stupid small errors, and I recover enough to stay in the game, but not enough to win.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take very many sort of, and even if they aren't errors, if they're just, a misjudgment,
Right.
like I said, on maybe expanding a little too aggressively, but that's always that tough decision on how much is not aggressive enough and how much is too aggressive.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good point. So,
Okay. Well, I think that kind of covers the topic of.
well, let's with that, let's go find Pythium and let's see if we. Okay, here we go, guys. Pour one out.
Is this it?
The last stand of Pythium.
Here it comes. And oh, geez, what is there? One gladiator in the PD.
It's one gladiator.
Okay. Well, the lab burning down. I mean, that's just the kind of crappy RNGs that happens. Little you can do about that.
Frozen Hearts fam, very real.
That's a lot of Frozen Heart.
Yeah, it is.
That would chew up most thugs.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Okay. Rest in peace, Pythium.
All right. I've actually got a drink. Everybody, if you're watching this and you have a drink, raise your drinks to Pythium.
To Pythium.
And if you're outside somehow, like if you're on a jog and you have a drink, then pour a little bit out. Prost.
Or any of those other.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Sal.
Sal?
I think that. Oh wait, I can't remember. I think that's French. Health. Oh no, santé. No, wait, what?
Santé. Santé is French for
yeah,
health.
I think what's the Sal is a different one. I can't remember what language that is.
I'm not familiar with that one. That one doesn't ring a bell for me. But
okay. Well, good game, Pythium. You definitely lasted longer than you should have after a lot of those early problems.
No, I mean, some of these nations have stuck around for a very long time.
Yeah.
So are you gonna work through the messages, or should we talk about Xibalba for a bit?
I think we'll do the messages. I don't think there's enough from Pythium to cover Xibalba.
Let me change up my list here. Okay, Pangaea.
I know you can see sight, so you've probably already noticed. Okay. Already going to say I probably haven't. But I would like to call your attention to the fact that I have an absolute silly amount of death income. And I'm going to be a little bit of an asphodel. I'm going to be up in the asphodel business. Okay, well, let's see what is this real? What kind of death income does he have? Lilium Vale. That's one death. Lilium Vale.
We haven't really spent time counting sites because trying to finish these up in an hour, that would slow it down a lot.
Well of Pestilence. I don't really see a tremendous amount. How much death income you got, Sai? Put in the comments. I don't see much. I see like a tiny amount of death. What you talking about, boy?
Maybe some of them are big, though.
Okay. Well, I guess this used to be... Okay. This...
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Well, I see where some of it was. It's not yours anymore. Let's see. Okay. Moving a lot of dryads this time in preparation for Van and Pelagia's attacking me. Okay. So he knows it's coming from Vanheim. Bit worried about having not bunkered my blood hunters this turn, given that it's elves, but we'll see. So he knows that Vanheim is attacking him. I don't think they had a non-aggression pact, but I guess other players have led on. Like maybe End was trying to bully Pangaea out of the war by saying he's going to get attacked by everybody, including Vanheim.
Could be.
We have some clarification coming in from Vanheim. A coalition has been formed against Pangaea, who are becoming very strong and might be able to throne rush, since there are still unclaimed thrones. Yeah. He's... okay, after this, we need to look at the claim that he could throne rush. Sai had mentioned he was thinking about it, so it's certainly a real consideration. But Vanheim is also not very far behind Pangaea in almost any measure. Pelagia, me, Ashdod, Alman, End. Okay, now let's look at this coalition real quick. Pelagia is engaged in other things, but he could poke.
Yeah.
Vanheim's a free agent. Ashdod is not a free agent.
End has been fighting us Pan for 2 turns now, at least. Maybe 3.
Yeah. Ulm is
Ind
not a free
committed.
agent. And
No.
Ind is still dealing with Agartha. This is not a very strong coalition. But,
Well, he says
Pangaea is
that.
spread thin, too. Pangaea, I don't know how well he can defend.
He also says that coming right up in the next sentence.
Okay. Formed the coalition 3 turns ago, decided to attack this turn, so you should see the results of that this turn. Unfortunately, all the other members are busy with war, so I don't know how much they can do. Right, so Vanheim is the principal agent, which is what I was saying last time. That he's the real decider
that's
in
what
this.
you predicted. That's what you predicted, yeah.
But I at least should be able to easily take Pan's nearby throne, though he's just reinforced it. Yeah. And this is tricky for Pangaea because we saw how Vanheim dismantled that last force from Jotunheim.
Yes.
It was a while ago now, but if Pangaea just has some stuff in there, Sai is an excellent player. So even with very good scripting, I don't think if Pangaea just has some stuff, including some White Centaur, that's going to matter. If Vanheim's doing like a very concerted effort at it.
Well, you mean, and Kris is a very good player too.
Yeah.
Sai is a very good player, but so is Kris.
Right. No, they're both very good players.
That should be a very difficult matchup on the scripting.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is that if Kris is bringing way more mages and way more troops, I don't know what Sai can do. It's just... he's spread very thin, so we'll see.
He's busy.
Ind will also try to defend his cave fort with his pretender. Oh my god, a pretender against White Centaur? I think it's gonna get killed. That's my prediction. Which is why I'm cloud trapezing Van Jarls to the only retreat province that Ind could not reach. With a fair bit of luck, we can destroy Pan's main White Centaur force.
Whew. Well, if they do, that's going to change the game.
Okay, but the part of the luck is going to have to be if Ind is teleporting his god inside a fort. So he can't, as long as Sai leaves, which I always do every single time I storm a fort, as long as I leave a few guys on the outside, you'll still have that same province you're in to retreat to.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. I also have construction 6 now, so research should pick up fast, even though I am now using a good deal of my mages in the war. Okay. Oh boy, okay, we're going to have a lot to talk about. Let's see. What I'm a little... Sai, if you're watching this, put in the comments, how did you know it was all coming this turn? Was it just certain naps ending? Like, I don't know how he knew Vanheim was attacking him.
I don't know.
Other than it's kind of a semi-obvious play. Okay, this was Pelagia pinging him. Thug moving in. Let's see how he's kitting these, because he sees some kind of innovative kits. I wonder if this is just... Okay, stock standard for us.
Very plain. Very plain.
Yeah. One thing that's interesting is Van Jarls really do need a new weapon. The Van Herses, they have spears, but these guys only have swords. They have short swords, as you can see in the picture.
Right.
If you don't replace this, they get repelled every shot when they get surrounded. Or not every shot, but a lot. And they end up taking the...
kind of useless.
Yeah. For Van Jarls especially, you really need to give him a weapon. And that's what he's done. This is like the bare minimum kit.
Mm-hmm. Cheap.
These are mercs, I believe.
Yeah,
I think you can get them from
leftovers.
events too.
But that's very much just leftovers, I think, isn't it? Only 3 of them.
How? Bunch of mine burns. Okay, yoink. Cost him some gems.
What do we got? Oh, that's just a scout. Okay.
Let's see how Sai's defending these. Well, this was a blood hunting province too. So Sai is trying to defend these blood hunting provinces. I didn't realize that's what this battle was. So he's got the pandemonic blood hunting or blood searching, and then he's moved a bunch of pans in to support. This one's got the Eye of Gaia to spam out Hal and some other things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but there's not a ton of blood hunting activity going on here. I wonder if there's more going on here.
That was an Iron Lord, wasn't it? Iron Order?
Oh, yeah. I think that's what it was.
Oh, and 3 Pandemoniacs.
Okay, this is where he's doing real blood hunting. And I can't tell what he's using these guys for, to be honest.
Maybe Eagle Eyes, Vine Arrows, Eagle Eye Vine Arrows.
I guess that would be pretty good against thugs, right?
It's quite good against thugs. Eagle Eye and Vine Arrows can... that's an unpleasant thing to come up against with a van.
Yeah.
It's not an absolute, but it ties it up enough, and then it knocks its defense to 0 for at least a round, which might get some chip damage. And
oh, this looks really sweaty. This looks super sweaty. Okay, so we've got... Okay, guys. This is going to be a treat, I can already tell. Okay, so we've got random dude that's probably going to cast Enlarge. We have...
Oh, okay.
This must be a hero. Can you look up, Maryland, if this is a hero? Some guy that gets 2 of these...
The very angry Viking?
The Einherr. Does he get an Einherr hero?
Oh, no, that's his name. I'm trying to remember how to look up heroes. I know you can do it. So I got to pick a middle-aged Vanheim.
Yeah.
Where are we? Middle-aged Van.
Oh, this has to be. It's got Hero's Blade, Axe of Sharpness built into the chassis.
Yes, there's an Einherr he gets. Well...
He's lucky. Okay. He has built... the region's from an item.
The one I'm seeing for the hero doesn't show the... doesn't show that Hero's Blade, but that could be a We're These Heroes upgrade.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Heroes.
is. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let me turn on We're the Heroes. Let's try that again. Whoops. Oh, no. Because the base one... But anyways, I found that hero. So... Okay, yeah. In We're the Heroes, he gets the Hero's Blade and an Axe of Sharpness.
Yeah.
That's why he didn't bother giving that guy weapons, because that's excellent. Hero's Blade is the one that chops up things bigger, right?
Yeah. 3 times damage versus larger. Just brutal. Larger.
So he doesn't really want larger on that guy.
Well, let's see what he's going to cast. It could be Wooden Warriors. No, Bark Skin. He still hasn't used it. Uh-oh. We might not get to see. Oh, he does have armor, but... Okay, so Pangaea back here, because this looks like a little blood factory. He's doing a bunch of summon imps.
Well, that might even be unscripted, because they will generally do that.
Well, Sai knew it was coming. He's scripted this, though.
Yeah. Well, that
you're
killed
right. So we never got to see what that gem was for.
I saw Wooden Warriors go up.
I think that was on Sai's side.
Oh, okay. I just saw the message.
Because these guys, I do not believe... Yeah, they did not get hit with protection.
No. No, he did it to himself.
This guy's fatigue seems okay. He's got Berserker +8, though, which is why his protection's so high. But that's going to crush his fatigue. It's going to be 4 fatigue a turn just from Berserk. Okay, but this is not lifelong protection, so there's no more coming.
No, they...
Wow, these guys didn't even die. That's crazy.
Yeah. Cool. Is that hero flying?
Yeah. He put boots on him.
Oh! So how many Pandemoniacs did he kill?
None.
Well, they got away.
They got away.
But he got all... Yeah. But he wiped... that was effective. So all he lost was the cheapo Lion-Tried Witch Doctor with a piece of leftover armor.
Yeah.
So, a tidbit from Mekon from last episode. He had a bugged hero, which he thinks might be what we saw.
Oh.
And he did say there was a message in the main game thread on May 9th over it. So.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, that's probably why we saw that blank in the naming.
Okay. I think I remember that. Thinking
Okay.
about it now. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. I think
That's
we
a nice
reported
hero.
that worthy heroes bug.
Yeah, that's a nice hero, but he sure could use some reinvigoration.
Yeah. So
Oh,
the
those those two guys we saw survive, the two big Jotuns, they're a retinue that hero summons in battle.
right. Um Now the problem though is there's nowhere for this guy. Wait, this was a normal phase attack because the Einherjar was here and he's not stealthy.
Oh, did those pandemoniacs? They were killed. They retreated and died.
This was a normal phase attack too. No, they could have gone inside this fort. I think they're inside this fort.
Ah,
Because I was trying to think, this is potentially magic
maybe.
phase. This is potentially magic phase. We could look and check if we were sweaty enough, but we're not going to have time to do that.
But the Einherjar was a regular move.
Right.
And
And
that
this was a regular move, so they could have gone inside here.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no. If the combat takes place in regular, no, they couldn't. They're dead.
I think they're
They're
dead.
dead.
I think
They're dead.
that hurts. 3 cap only pandemoniacs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was costly.
Are they cap only? I can't remember.
Pandemoniacs, I believe, are.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Huh. Cool.
Pans are not.
Gotcha.
The pandemoniacs are. That's why Pan is such a minor blood nation.
Yeah. So this is a high commitment from Vanheim. Let's see if we can figure out what he's going to do. I'll take a look at his commanders real quick. We've got a Camazot with a bunch of death gems.
Oh my. But there aren't that many
All
good
at the
death
front.
spells.
My guess
But
is
he's
this is
maxed out
for
at
Curse. I know
He's
this is...
maxed out at death 3, so he's not going to be casting the big death spells.
What could this be? I wonder if can he do...
Shadow Blast?
Oh, he can't do Skeletal Legion.
No, there's very few. Almost all of the good battle-wide death spells are 4 at least. And
Yeah.
so you have
I think he might be right. It might be Shadow Blast because we know he went Evocation.
Yeah.
I can't think
There's
of what
not
a
much else.
Death 2 would do.
Not much that uses gems, except Lamashtas.
Yeah.
They're kind of horrible.
I can't think of anything.
And a lot of the best death spells, you must be death 4 because they take 4 gems, so you can't pull off a 3 with a boost.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Spirit Curse in case I don't even know who size God is, to be honest. But
I think he's a park and home god. If you go to his capital, I bet you we'd see him.
I just checked on it. I didn't see it here.
Oh, okay. No, just Pandemoniacs.
I think it was a Frost Father. I think I remember seeing that earlier.
Oh, yes. I think I remember that as well. We really should have kept more notes, but anyways.
Yeah. Anyway.
You learn as you go. This is the first time we've ever done this.
First time you've ever done it.
Well, I meant like team recording.
Oh, I mean, I did this last time a bit with Sakane joined, I think. No, not Sakane. Yeah. Who did it? Oh, no, I did it mostly my own. I think I had some guest appearances. You were on, I think, for a couple episodes.
Yeah, a couple episodes. But it's different than this where it's consistent, where I can be the note taker every time.
Yeah.
Because that works really well.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a Camazot. I can't figure out what he's doing. The Dwarven Smith, this guy's going to drop Legions of Steel, Strength of Giants.
That's pretty
Another
obvious.
Dwarven Smith. Another Dwarven Smith. And what's interesting is he's got these boots on all of them. I think that's so he can skip Earth Power and get more buffs off in the first couple rounds. That's my guess.
Okay.
Let's see.
Because the other option is it makes a huge difference in how much after they buffed, how many attack spells they can cast having the boots on.
So that is exactly what happened. The dwarves did turn 1 Strength of Giants and stuff rather than trying to be efficient and...
Right, and then he could do 2 or 3 rounds of buffing. Then he could do Earth Power, and then he'll head into the late end of the battle with that extra Earth boost, so he can, do massive amounts of Blade Wind or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's using this. Oh, So that's a
And
2 with 2 gems.
this could be potentially mass protection if he has it. Though it could also... I don't think he has it yet. His research is horrible.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm sure he doesn't have it. This could also be Poison Ward to try to get on the Mage Core or something. I'm not sure.
Maybe. Or Creeping Doom, maybe.
No, that's also Alt 7. He's not going to have that. It could be Swarm or something, I guess, but...
I suppose.
Or it could, be something that we're just not smart enough to figure out. This guy, a bunch of pearls. I wonder if this is for anti-magic. He would need buddies. One thing he's been doing a lot, and it was something we didn't mention in that big fight with Jotunheim, is he put a lot of these guys into a Sabbath. And we can see a lot of blood slaves sticking around here. They're not going to Sabbath up here because there's no gem use triggered. But I think this guy's going to be a master and do anti-magic in the case, like once these guys Sabbath up.
Yeah. With that many, he could also be putting out a bunch of Battle Fortune.
Yeah.
Lots of air gems.
Oh my god, I've never noticed this before. If you left click on a unit, you see what they cast. Have you ever noticed that?
Well, I'm not sure. I haven't even really noticed until I was with you. This mage summary you bring up.
Yeah.
Right
click, it brings up the thing, and then so this guy's doing storm.
Right.
Left click brings up what they... I didn't know that. Oh my god.
Well, that's the equivalent to the V.
Yeah.
The V key when you're zoomed in on a unit.
Right. Well, is it the same? It looked like a different... Oh yeah, it is the same. It just brings up the log.
How do you open that summary screen of the list of all the magi?
Oh, you hit F1, and this brings up the whole thing, and then you hit C, and it filters it for just the commanders.
Oh, okay, great.
I think it...
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's listed here. Filter, show commander only, and then clear filter. Sort by unit type, sort by HP, sort by XP, sort by current fatigue. Huh.
I gotta start using that more.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, and he's got a lot of air gems. This could either be summon storm power, and then he'll have enough to do Thunderstrike, or it could be summon air elementals. And I think he probably could have big air elementals by now.
Yeah, with storm power, that makes them an air 2, so then they can toss up 1 or 2 big air elementals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then just a bunch of Van Jarls to spam Thunderstrike. And then this guy, another Nature 2 mage.
Well, I guess we're going to have to wait for him.
It could be Wooden Warriors. Is the other thing. I don't know why we didn't think about it. It didn't use gems, but that seems logical. For him to want to put Wooden Warriors on his dudes. Okay, so this is the big stack Pangaea is going to have to fight against. And do you remember how much shock resistance? Oh, we can probably find it. How much shock resistance does Pangaea have on his Bless?
I thought 10.
10?
I think it's the 10. I don't think it's the 15.
Is it the 5, though?
It's 10.
It's 10, okay.
Yeah.
That will take a lot of the edge off. And it may put White Centaur... Let's take a look, because they're enlarged. So they're going to have more HP. This is squarely going to put them in the 2 Thunderstrikes to kill category. So...
Okay.
And that... Thunderstrike's not going to be super... I'm probably going to eat my freaking words, but I don't think Thunderstrike will be super effective there. But he's also got to hit the he's got to also hit all of these Vans that have, potentially Legions of Steel, Wooden Warriors, Strength of Giants on them. Yeah. And I forget what his Bless was, but I think there's a fair amount of defense in here. Let's see. Yeah, 24 defense.
They're going to be tough to kill.
They're going to be really tough to kill.
Yeah, 1-to-1. I put my money on the Vans if it was a 1-to-1 White Centaurs versus Vans.
Yeah, I mean, we look at these guys right now. They're blessed. They've got 18 defense, 3 berserk. Once they get hit, they're going to switch to 15 defense and 14 attack. The thing is, it's 14 attack against 24 defense. That's a -10 penalty. They're never going to hit.
They're not going to hit. No.
And
No,
meanwhile,
against
the
this-
Vans are going to be hitting into 15 defense. And let's see what the Vans' attack is once they're blessed. $14. They're going to be hitting 50% of the time.
Yeah, they're going to hit pretty regularly. So,
Does Pangaea
yeah, I
have
think
Blood Surge? That might help a little bit. I don't think they do.
Well, here, hold that. Once you click on the blast, hold it for a second. I'll grab a clip.
Okay. They do have Blood Surge. So this is potentially a bonus 3 attack if they kill. And they have a decent, not great, but a small chance of killing on the Lance Charge.
So they have surge. Yeah, that'll increase their attack significantly. They're just going to be really hard. Plus, they're size 4 now, so that's only 1 per square. The Vanarus are not enlarged, I believe, so they're going to be 2 per square.
Yeah. Looking at
Vans.
it, I mean, these guys could also have higher protection. You know, they could be up at 10 natural protection, and then they could also have Legions of Steel put on them. And that,
Yeah, there's quite a few things. There's quite a few things he can do for buffing, and plus Moss Body should be able to pull off some Moss Body or various things. I think he's got.
The thing I'm thinking about is you get these kind of like interesting threshold effects in Dominions. Like Vanheim's defense is high enough that the White Centaur can basically not hit him. So they're immune through defense in a way. I'm wondering, Vans typically don't hit very hard. I'm wondering if these White Centaur can become kind of immune through protection. They're going to get a bonus 3 protection, which will stack with Bark Skin. So if they get Bark Skin, what's their body? 7.
But
So
he
it's
can
going to
also.
be 4 plus 10. That'll be 14. Oh, wait.
He
No,
can
okay.
Legions of Steel as well.
Legions of Steel, this is going to be 10. This will be 13 with Berserk and Barkskin. And so 10 and 13...
Well, they're not quite linear. But
No. This does stack linear. Not this number. Forget this number. But 10 with Barkskin, and then with Berserk, it will linearly stack to 13.
I realize that the natural will stack to linear, but then the natural plus the armor is still, we're not up to
But
the high.
follow me. Barkskin is 10, right? But the Berserk is going to linearly stack with Barkskin, which is going to bring the effective natural protection up to 13.
Yep.
Then with Legions of Steel, the body protection is going to go to 10. Or is it 10 or 2? I think it's 10. 10 or 9. Okay, so 10. And then we're going to have the diminishing stack between 13 and 10, which is going to take you to... Basically, you're going to add 5 to 13, which is going to be 18.
Actually, I think it's more like it's going to be 21 total.
Oh, yeah?
Well, this is very similar to when we did this with Stygian Skin and the Arcertuts, and it came out that if you just added them directly, it was 23, but they ended up at 21. So the loss from the diminishing returns of the 2 types of armor wasn't very much in that 20 range, and then it gets worse as you get closer to 40.
Okay. The rule I tend to do is take the highest and then add half of the smallest. There's a table that will give you more accurate results. But
Yeah. Well, that's kind of in the ballpark,
Yeah.
but this is on the
13
low
plus
end.
5 is 18. Yeah, so it might be like 19 or 20. Or maybe it's all the way up at 21. I don't know. But
I'm just guessing. We could do the math if we wanted to turn this into a math lesson or start slapping charts up and stuff. Oh, no, it doesn't matter. I was just laughing.
So these guys with their blessed, though, so they've got the blessed bonus of 2 strength. They've got the strength of giants of 4. They're up to 20 on piercing, which means they'll cut right through these guys. I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna get wrecked.
I think they're gonna trash them.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1-to-1. No.
Maybe inside a fort gate, they could do something interesting, like protect the mages in the back from like air elementals and stuff. The problem is, Fort Gate is going to favor Thunderstrike spam a lot.
Well, one of the things that Pan at least can do is various forms of Earth Meld or Maws to knock their defense to 0 briefly.
Right.
If you time that right after engagement, you might get some kills. But with the strength boost he's got, with the strength of giants, they're going to break that Earth Meld very quickly.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them. You know, like you can't, and they're going to be killing you stuff pretty fast. You can't like, it's not like, oh, we disabled 10 for a couple turns, like that's going to turn the fight. No, you're on a pretty fast ticking clock.
Yep.
Okay. So I know we spent a lot of time on that. Sorry, I kind of got really, but to me, it's kind of more interesting to look and see what some of these players are thinking and how they're going to potentially handle it before we actually see it play out. Once we see it play out, it's like, okay, this is just what happened. It's hard to get into their mind.
I don't have an issue with us, trying to do a little analysis before the fact. That makes sense.
Anything else you want to talk about on the Vanheim Pangaea front?
I don't think so. Just related to it, what exactly is Pelagia? Might Pelagia do at this point in time?
Do we have a message from them? No. Yeah, I mean, right now they've just poked. But I don't think Pelagia really wants to fight Pangaea right now.
It looks like quite a bit of those troops we're seeing for Pelagia might be Amber Clan and therefore aquatic only.
You remember there are these wave warriors he's been getting, which are really good. They're amphibious.
Yeah, they're cool. They look gold. So they look like Amber Clan, but they're amphibious.
I'd say, okay, I have a few closing thoughts on this conflict here. Mm-hmm. One is there's going to be a ton of Dryad seduction and stuff we're going to miss. And Vanheim can do assassinations and stuff with Blackhearts too, depending on how big their blood economy is. But we're going to be missing like a whole level of this game because we just can't see assassinations. So until Illwinter puts away for like spies or something to see assassination battles, we're going to be blind on that.
Yeah, we'll have to ask for some input on that. Maybe I'll send a message to both of those guys just to, if they want to talk to us when we go to record the next few turns.
Yeah, I like way later in the game, I got a message from Vanheim saying I'm really missing out not seeing, or maybe it was from Sai saying I'm really missing out not seeing the assassination battles. So there's a whole nother level that we're not going to see. Hopefully they'll keep us a bit informed, but assassinating elves is actually tricky though. Their elves are kind of hard to assassinate for multiple reasons. That was kind of why I brought this up. Is being stealthy is excellent against assassinations because you can just stealth away. So, oh, he raided me here. I'm going to seduce him with the Dryad. But the Van Jarl stealths away. He's
gone before you get the seduction command to activate, yes.
Yeah. So that's a bit of a zinger. And they're both stealthy nations. So any kind of stealthy assassination game is going to be complicated by the fact that whatever unit is there has to not be stealthing away. So anyway, it's complicated.
Mm-hmm.
That was all I wanted to say on that. Okay. Let's see if there's anybody else Pangaea's fighting. So let's go to the Pangaea end thing.
Before you leave the Pangaea Vanheim thing, I just saw something. Can you pop out? What happened there's a single Vanheim attack just northeast of Pelagia. Right there on the throne.
Wait, on the throne?
Northeast of Pelagia. Upper right. Up to your right.
Oh, God. Okay, so this was the thing. So let's look. Let's read this message from N, because this is connected to what they were telling us about this weird magic face thing.
Right.
So it's interesting how much you're reliant on the actions of others in this game. In this case, I got a bit unlucky there. If Naba or Uruk dealt with Pan better, things would have been very different. There is a very big coalition against Pan, and it will strike next turn. 1 to 2 more turns was all I needed. However, maybe I could have dealt with Agartha quicker.
I don't know if he could have.
Yeah, I
He
think
did
he's
well.
played this Agartha thing really well.
Really well.
I mean, he might have been able to win sooner, but it would have probably been at the cost of a lot more attrition. So I think he's done really well. That kind of thing in a 1v1, it's harder to close. Pan has been fighting 2 to 3v1s and gotten lucky with very few losses while gaining a lot of land. That's true. Pangaea has been doing excellent diplomacy.
I wouldn't call that luck.
He's been planning on
I would
this.
call that very effective poaching.
Oh, planning. I mean, he planned the Naba thing. He was the organizer of that whole thing.
Exactly.
And then he said he was probably going to go after Uruk. I think I was talking with him after the game. Probably going to go after Uruk no matter what, but Uruk attacking Xibalba just put that in his lap.
Yep.
Okay, now I have 120 sacreds and a lot of thugs to contend with. Even with the coalition striking, it's unlikely that he will retreat. That means I will get further behind while the others eat him up from the rear. Goal now is to weather the storm for the next 2 to 3 turns. If I can survive that roughly intact and inflict some losses on him, maybe I can stabilize. I think this is a really good point. He's fighting a war where he's probably not going to gain much, is what it looks like. The others, like Vanheim, is really the others. The coalition otherwise is not really anybody. Potentially stands to gain a lot.
Yes.
So End is fighting in a position where he's probably going to have to fight the majority of Pan's stuff, and he stands to gain very little. And he's a smaller player. Meanwhile, Vanheim is going to have to fight relatively little, potentially stand to gain a lot, and is a much bigger player. So it's kind of the asymmetry in the coalition.
Yeah, it's not an uncommon sort of issue.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Let's see how this craziness plays out. Wait. Was it the throne? Okay, it was the throne. So Vanheim magic phases a thug in.
Okay.
Oh, wait, but this is just PD. Oh. Wait, am I missing something?
No.
Okay. This was the fort he was on top of they were talking about then.
Okay, so he tries going in with...
So Vanheim was supposed to magic phase. I guess they miscoordinated on which fort.
No, he said in his message he was going to magic phase to stop any retreat of these guys.
Oh, okay, you're right.
Yeah. Not on top of them to gem burn or something.
So this guy he's at 200 because he came from the cap, but his real max HP is 180. He's got a Ring of Regen. He's going to cast Regen. Let's see what his script is here. We'll just watch it go. Iron Skin. Temper Flesh. Moss Body. Flying Shield. Oh boy. Personal Regen. Oh boy.
And then evocations.
My only quip here is Summon Earth Power would be real nice.
Yeah, but look at those poor white centers. They're just burning.
And I'll just say my improved casting AI. This guy's just demolishing dudes with spells. Holy shit.
Yeah, magma bolts, flame.
And he's got a super powerful fire shield on him by default. And these guys have some fire resistance. Oh, no, they have 10. But even then, I think 10 is not enough. With 12 protection and a hoof attack, this hoof attack gets wrecked by fire shield.
Yeah. Ouch. Look at that. Oh,
40
and then a shot
regen.
Good grief.
Now, these imps actually did pretty good work.
Well, he's fatigued out, but he's still...
Okay, I was wrong. I was so wrong. I thought White Centaur would crush this dude.
No, they can't even touch it.
I can't touch it. It was all these other buffs. It was, and I didn't think about all of them. It's
Protective Force is having a... Yeah.
Iron Skin, Protective Force, Moss Body, the Temper Flesh. I mean,
So everything
so it's
gets
20
through.
protection, then half it with these resistances, then half it again with this, then reduce it by 75% with this. You're left with nothing.
Well, this is impressive.
You know, interestingly, I think lifelong protections would have killed this guy. Because they'd be immune to the fire shield.
Yeah. Yeah.
And enough imps would probably get through.
Just harassed him to death.
Yeah. I think enough imps could do 40 damage a turn.
I don't think the imps could do damage. I don't know. Yeah, but I don't think the imps are getting through. It's the white centers are sometimes getting through.
Yeah. Be cool if there were a way to filter this for only things that do damage.
There's an imp. 0 points, 0 points.
Yeah, you're right.
No, the imps just can't do enough damage. They've only got a claw. Well, 2 claws or whatever.
Yeah, but 9 squares of imps. That's what's 9 times 30? What's 9 times 6? Or it's not 9, it's 8. 8 times 6. 48. And then these have 2 attacks. So it's
but only damaged 9.
Yeah, but I mean we're talking about almost 100 damage rolls a turn.
Yeah, it might get enough RNG to punch through.
But oh boy. That's real kick in the pants.
And how many the others got away, but he killed 21 of 25.
Well, that's the thing when you fight White Centaur. They, if some of them got away, but that's because they didn't get hit. A lot of these things, they get like 1 fire shield damage, and they're going to fight to the bitter end.
Right. Well.
Well.
That puts a fair kink into the plans for Pangaea.
Yeah, now he didn't raid, which is probably, I would pay like $5 right now if I had this already set. I would love to see what would have happened if he sent everything in.
Ooh, okay, that one didn't work.
Well, he was probably expecting this force to storm the capital, because this is how much stuff was on top.
Yeah.
But Pangaea didn't send it all in. They sent most of it elsewhere, which was smart, because, who knows what could happen when you try to storm a fort. But I am curious if this many White Centaur would have been able to kill the god, because we never saw the god completely surrounded by White Centaur. But I'm suspicious it wouldn't have worked.
No, because it's only 8 of them. Because they're a single per square.
Yeah.
So he was regenning 40, and they were hitting... The hits I saw were in the 8 to 12 damage, most of the hits.
Yeah.
And they weren't hitting all the time.
But he's also got 2 lifelong protections in this.
Well, yeah.
Can you believe lifelong protections used to be half price of this? If they were so busted. They used to be 20 slaves.
Yeah. And you got twice as many slaves.
Yeah. This was an appropriate nerf they got into Minions 5.
Slave income was, the overall reduction in increase in costs and reduction in the amount of slaves that are earned.
Right.
Wasn't a bad change to the game. Some people thought, wow, this is going to make it unbalanced, but blood magic is still quite powerful. It's just not overwhelmingly dominant.
Yeah.
The way it used to be. But, these comparisons are tough because you also have to consider those were the days of infinite pearls. When you've got infinite pearls, you're going to need almost infinite blood slaves.
Well, I never played. I mean, I always played with CBM, and I think that was a Dom 3 thing. I think they fixed infinite pearls in Dom 4, right?
In 4, yeah. And then but the major change to blood hunting did come during the Dominions 4 beta, because I have a bookmark link of the long discussion we had on, what exactly does this mean? Because some of their suggested changes to blood hunting were a little over the top in that they were going to have cascading consequences, and they did back away from some of it. So my personal estimate is we had about a 50% nerf to blood magic.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot. I like actually how it ended up. I don't feel like it used to be in Dominions. Sorry for the sidetrack, guys, but it used to be in Dominions that you really had to kill blood nations. Like you couldn't tolerate blood nations living into the late game.
No, Lanka or Mictlan,
Yeah.
if they were in the game, you had to kill them.
Yeah.
Or you were done.
Now it's like it would be nice to kill them before the late game. But you don't need to. You can.
No.
The fact that there is a medium-sized Mictlan or Lanka in the late game is not an existential crisis.
But now we have.
Way it used to be. You could be.
Now we have other nations that you have to kill immediately, like Lemuria or Therados.
Yeah. But like if you were a huge, let's say Satis, which has no blood magic, and it's turn 80, and you're like 40% bigger than a Lanka or a Mictlan, before it would have been like, okay, well, obviously we have to kill Mictlan. They're the big threat. But now it's like, okay, we need to kill Satis because they're 40% bigger, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I like how the changes were. It makes diplomacy more interesting.
I think that as a grand balance, at a high level of balance, those changes have worked out well.
In case Illwinter is listening to this, though, that I think he did screw up Soul Contract. Soul Contract's just too expensive now. Oh my god. But anyway.
Yeah, and the taint is too high. I think I looked it up and they increased the taint and the price.
And the taint might be fine, more flavor or whatever, but and you can get around that with life after death and stuff, but I think the price could use like a 30% reduction. It probably needed a price increase, but it got way too much of one. Anyway, neither here nor there. Oh man. And so Pangaea also moved out here. One of the things that I don't think you and I talked much about, but it came up in my Discord channel where I have a thread in the Discord channel where people talk about the current series wherever we are in it. Mm-hmm. And Arco had sent us a message saying he didn't approve of Pangaea's scales, and I skipped over that, saying we're not going to get into players nitpicking each other's builds too much. But one of the things that Sai said in the Discord channel after was that he did a lot of that. Like a lot of his scales were centered around late game production of cataphracts.
Yeah, no, I saw that comment, and he said no. He's got the scales exactly where he calculated they should be.
Right.
Was his counter charge.
Yeah.
That he had carefully. It was the production scale, I think. I think Arco was suggesting it could have been a little lower, or maybe a little higher, one or the other. I don't remember. And then Sai said, "No, it's right where I wanted it."
I want to see one of these guys. Oh man, these guys are pretty fierce with wooden warriors on them. 25 protection?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
And they've got pretty good... Well, those guys got some experience, so their stats are up a bit.
Now, End has been doing a bunch of summoning imps. But imps aren't actually that great against Pangaea, because Pangaea, they've got the hoof attack, they've got high protection. Like, these guys don't give a shit about imps. If they get overwhelmed, they do, but in any kind of number, these centaur are going to crush imps.
I personally, to me, imps are, most of the time I use imps as a formation breaker.
Right.
So they only really work when you've got enough troops in behind them that are going to start doing the killing for you. The imps are not particularly going to kill. Right. But they do bust up formations, especially if you trickle them in using either lifelongs or imp spam, the spell. They trickle in, and but against just a pure line of attacking cavalry, that's not going to help you much. They're going to get wiped too quickly. Yeah. It's highly effective against combined particularly crossbows and magi that are going to do AoE spells.
Yeah.
They'll often blast AoEs into the middle of your own formation.
Yeah.
Using imps. Imps or even hawks, that sort of thing. But as far as a real combat unit, imps are not great.
Yeah, and it's okay against elites that have like one attack too, but the fact that centaur get a hoof attack also is pretty consequential.
Yeah.
So if we look at it this turn,
they didn't tie them up long enough to give his magi time to do much.
Yeah. Okay, we've got more rating. This rating of End is actually pretty darn interesting.
The rating of Pan against Ind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got this guy running around. A bunch of imps are getting
got
summoned.
He's got a lot of those lions. They must be a national spell.
Yeah. No, that you get them from a huntress, which you get in forest provinces, and that I like them. Some people think they're a trap, but I don't know what it is about these imps, but they never fucking wake up. If you'll excuse my French, from Vine Shield.
Strength is too low.
Yeah. It's only 9, though, which doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah.
But I've had battles I won because it timed out, because the imps were stuck in Entangle for like the 20 turns after, from like turn 100 where they routed to turn 120 where the battle times out and everybody dies.
Yeah.
Like, they really struggle to get out of Vine Shield.
I don't remember the checks on Vine Shields, but I believe it's MR to attack, to hit, and then strength to break free.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I believe. I can look that up, but I mean, but that's why they're effective.
Yeah. I will tell you too, because I played Ind and I had Pangaea next to me when I in that game. Getting stealth rated as Ind is so gosh darn annoying, because Ind, more than a lot of other nations, wants to have unforted temples and labs. And,
right.
you know, like they want to get their little blood shamans out of the unforted labs, and they want to get... And you can't, once you fort it, you can't get the little blood dudes anymore. You have to have them unforted.
Right.
And then your holy 3 mages you get from unforted temples. And if you fort them, you lose them unless you're in like a highland, which I didn't actually know until like turn 100 in my end game. But
yeah, it's pretty awkward.
Fighting Pangaea is certainly not the wet dream of Ind.
So what's the status of the other border of Ind?
Well, we'll go check that in a second. It's just Pan is putting an enormous amount of rating pressure on.
He is. Those are more of those multicolored lions.
Yeah.
Well, you held up, but this is a
Oh my
significant
god.
army.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Agartha punched out a little bit. Oh, okay.
That's interesting.
Hmm.
A small squad of Ind. Now, Pangaea had been getting some crossbows, and that's what he's got here. And crossbows are going to be pretty okay here. They're doing some damage. But these guys are closing, and Ind is doing, like, these fireballs are devastating.
The fireballs made him run. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was highly effective.
That was closer than it looked, but Ind smashed him.
Well, he sure is having to hustle. The Ind player is having to hustle.
I like this. This is a really cool engagement so far.
So those are very cost-effective mini raids from. But I had mentioned
both players really.
Yeah, that Agartha can very cost-effectively raid with the magma kids.
Right. Yeah, I think this is the kind of squad you were talking about here.
That's exactly the type of thing I was talking about. Although his dude's just a little too close.
Yeah.
But
you can get burninated.
Oh, and an earth elemental. Well, I don't know that the earth elemental was worth the gem.
Yeah.
It's just going to get burned.
What? Oh, I think that, I know what happens here. Somebody catches fire.
He burned to
That was what you were talking about that last time. He's too close.
Exactly. He's too close. There he goes. He runs away and they all melt. Yeah, they all die.
Whoopsie daisy. Yeah, details matter.
That didn't work. Little tidbits.
Okay, let's take a look at Ind's score graph here. I think Ind, despite his best efforts right here on score graph, where are we? Oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's bad, but it's not that bad.
Well, the other one to count is how many troops has he lost. If he hasn't lost very many, then he's not in too bad a shape. But if he starts taking some army losses, he's going to be ragged.
Yeah.
Of course, now his capital's under threat from that giant horde of white centaurs.
Yeah, I mean, how is he going to kill Agartha? This whole plan to kill Agartha basically has been slapped down. And he needed this. If he got this last fort from Agartha, it might be kind of okay. But now, like, how are you going to take this fort with dryads running around stealing your shit, Pangaea attacking you, and then much less deal with this Agarthan Doomstack?
Yeah, it's pretty rough. It's a pretty rough situation.
I mean, I think for Agartha now, they've got a chance to come back and claim all their infrastructure. If I were Agartha, I would just roll out right now. Beep,
Yeah.
beep, boop. I mean, I don't know how they're going to come back and win the game after this, but, you know, anything is possible. Okay, so we're getting kind of late in this. Any thoughts on this conflict, Marilyn?
We've covered a lot of it. It's a very challenging situation for Ind. He did a really good job with the Baphomet, and he's counter-raiding effectively, but if he takes some hard hits on armies, he's going to be in desperate shape.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Do you magic phase the Bahamut on top of this army? Because this is now exposed to it. But it does have lifelong protections.
The thing is, though, in magic phase, it could get swarmed awfully quickly, but it can get its buffs off. So that might work. And it shouldn't get killed. It should just end up retreating. And it's got lots of retreat paths. So.
This army?
No, the Bahamut.
Oh, it's immobile.
Shit, right.
Yeah.
So if he retreats, he's buggered.
Well, no, he can't. I mean, yeah, there's no retreating. If the battle times out, that Bahamut's not leaving.
It's dead.
The thing, though, is Sai is going to script this to get them as good as he can to deal with that Bahamut. Like, he's not going to put wooden warriors on them to lower their fire resistance. He's going to spam legions or strength of giants on all these guys in big boxes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a high risk move.
I think it's the decisive move. The other thing is this group can stealth move out. I forgot about that.
Oh, right. Oh, the whole group?
Yeah. No, except the main ends, but who cares about them?
Yeah, that's true.
Except this guy. This guy can't. So, which is significant. Killing his only holy 3, he would have to bless these guys with only triads. It's almost worth it to magic phase on this.
It is, actually.
Just to kill that stupid white minotaur. You then have to build a lab, but...
Okay. Cool.
Satis
that is quietly staying home.
Doing the just work of fighting off indies.
Yeah.
The true PvE experience.
Yeah. Gotta love misfortune scales. That's why I hate misfortune scales. I mean, I know they pay off and they're worthwhile, but they're annoying.
Yeah, it depends. I think if you're it gets the value of luck or the cost of misfortune decreases as you get bigger. But while you're small, it can be pretty influential.
Yep. It's just a harassment issue. It's a micro thing. Taking misfortune scales causes you to do more so the little dinky counter ratings to wipe out those bits of barbs and stuff.
Okay, so that's Satis. Let's come over. Did we miss messages? Okay, Jotunheim.
Yeah, I'll call Satis done because it's just basically waiting for the next wave.
Yeah. Pretty unfortunate turn of events. That, or I guess people can read me like a book. Howlin' Relief did not get cast because I had the 2 Scrotty switching from one army to where they were. Yeah, we saw that.
Which we discussed in great detail, and that's a risky move.
Yep. So I told my Gaijas to not cast Sabbath Slave. So I ended up with no Communion Slaves in that magic phase battle versus the Kraken. Yep.
Which we figured out.
I like to believe Hal casting the Forest plus Relief, along with my Masters slowly summoning more chaff, could have kept the Kraken at bay for forever thanks to Rigor Mortis.
Oh, I think it would have.
Yeah, I think it would have too. But now I'm left with 10 giants from the 30 I had, and none of the 60 long dead.
Yeah.
Tiny bit tilted, yeah. You're in trouble, buddy. I'd be tilted too.
What does Vanheim tell us? I don't remember his message. Did we read it?
Yeah, this was about
Oh,
the coalition.
Yeah. And that worked, except that Pan slightly outplayed him by moving the big blob of dudes out of the way.
Yeah.
Oh, that one failed.
Let's see what ultra budget script Pelagia had prepared.
Something just went wrong.
This is just the air elementals.
Oh, it was just maybe a little more PD than he expected. Well, and they killed the mage. There you go. That's why.
And air elementals don't trample these guys very well, because a lot of the value of trample is the area of effect, and these guys are 1 per tile. So, pretty good defense from Jotunheim here. Satis pinging with the scout. Apparently, oh my god, Satis.
Jotun, he got his army.
Boy.
He got his army home.
Oh boy.
What did he fight here? What's on the other
side? On this side, we have.
Okay, we've.
Hayuken! The Jotun werewolf, who has a serpent Kris, which is something you never see. Hardly ever. But it has death poison, which is a lot of poison if you didn't know.
Yeah, enough to get through just about any level of poison resist.
Plus a Windmaster. One of the interesting... Well, no, that's not actually that interesting. How much... I know this guy comes with... Okay, 10 poison resistance. So the thing is, every time this guy gets hit by that darn serpent Kris, he can potentially take 25 poison damage.
Mm-hmm. No, it'll kill him if it hits. Or at least damage him in a significant way.
And then the Flesh Eater will make him fatigue out real fast and give him, well, not permanent because he has recuperation, but a flesh wound.
Give him a chest wound, yeah.
Now, if you're going to do this, come on, you got to do Curse at the beginning. Rigor Mortis, okay.
Okay.
Now, that's interesting. I wonder if he has reinvigoration boots on this Scrotty. He does. And he has a Girdle of Might. So this guy's going to have a bajillion, 6 reinvigoration.
Yeah.
Yeah. He will still be teetering right at 100 fatigue, I think, once he's engaged in melee for a while.
Look at him go. You put super move on him.
Does he have Gift of the Hair, too?
Yeah, quickness.
Quickness. Yeah, no, he has that.
Combat speed.
I don't think he did Gift of the Hair.
24.
Yeah.
But 24, that's pretty speedy. So how hard did he hit? Look at that. 2 afflictions right off the bat.
Yeah, so he's got Never Healing Wound and Chest Wound. And Never Healing Wound takes forever to go off, even with Affliction.
Yep.
I mean, even with... Oh, he did do Curse.
Oh, finally.
Okay, and he's got Horror Marks coming out. So he's Horror Marked. God, this is familiar. This seems a lot like when I used the Kraken. Okay, so he's got 20 poison damage stacked up.
The poison is penetrated.
Now, what's interesting is this... Well, he doesn't care about... This guy does have a bit of poison resistance. I was going to say he doesn't have any. He has 5. Because this guy does have the Poison Ink, which does this area of effect too, Lingering Ink.
But it's quite small.
9 poison damage. That means there's 90 accumulated poison on him right now.
Yeah, it's stacking through. And a lightning bolt.
For those of you who don't know... the way poison damage works is you basically, once you get hit, so this guy hits, it's going to do 35 death poison. It's armor negating, but it will get reduced by the poison resistance, which is 10. So this is going to become, let's say, 25 poison damage, which goes onto the Kraken, but he doesn't get it all at once. It basically goes into a big poison bank. And every turn, every new round, that poison bank gets depleted by 10%, and that gets turned into actual realized damage. And that's the number we're seeing. So if you take this number and you multiply it by 11, that tells you there's 110 poison damage in the poison bank. Or there was.
Stacked up poison, yeah.
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 And so if you stop doing poison damage, you get like a nice little curve as the poison gradually depletes itself.
Arco is asking about this recording, and I said, yes, we're finishing it up. And that is a dead Kraken.
A very dead Kraken. Let's see exactly what all it died with.
Chest wound, never healing, and weakened.
Yeah.
Plus, he's got to call it back, and it's horror marked, and it got quite a few horror marks.
Yeah.
That's what finally did me in Bosmos. Is my pretender got horror marked so bad the Doom horror showed up, and that was it. Boom.
Yeah, and my Middle Age Atlantis game where I use a Kraken, it kills lots of Doom horrors. It was just like Doom horrors were. I think I must have gotten attacked by like 5 or 6 of them. And
really, that's kind of impressive. But
what's funny is it never died to a Doom horror, but it ended up getting killed by Brass Claw horrors.
Oh, they're nasty.
Yeah, if you don't have shock resistance, they fuck you up. But yeah, I stacked defense on him and put regen and amulet of anti-magic and kept him in friendly dominion once the Doom horrors started coming.
This is a change up. Jotun has kind of made up for some of his trouble last turn. That was a good job of rescripting for a situation he anticipated.
Yeah, to pull this off, you have to correctly anticipate where he moves. And let's look at where this was. So the fight. Oh. So this is where. Okay, this is where Arco magic placed. It was here.
And then
the Kraken retreated here.
And he didn't get it away in time.
And the Jotun army was here. And Arco thought this army probably is going to come back and force a fight. And Arco thought, okay, if the army is going to retreat to the nearest fort, what I want to do is fight and kill it with my Kraken.
Yeah.
And that didn't work. Very cool. Gelatinous cubes, the Arco special coming through.
Look at that. That's pretty funny. Enlarging it. Okay, mouse body the thing.
And there's some interesting, little sweatiness here that all the viewers will appreciate. He had one of the mages retreat to lower the cost if this thing doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And the mage that didn't retreat was in the same tile as the cube, which means he was the one that also got hit by all the protection buffs.
Yeah. Nice.
Just
nice.
Tiny little sweaty details.
So comment by Arco, he deliberately left his Kraken there because the Scrotty had no weapons when they left that fight. But obviously, Jotun had a scout with weapons to reload the Scrotty right before the fight.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I assumed it was maybe a different Scrotty or something, but I guess it was
maybe.
It might have been. And I haven't been, I mean, that's a detail we're not keeping track of because we don't have the time to. But in the game, they can certainly, know the Scrotty by name and know which ones were where and all of that. So,
well, and they're also only typically tracking 1 or 2 other players in detail each turn, whoever they're fighting.
Right. So, but yeah, I mean, if that is the case, all the cooler that all happened.
Oh, good comment by Arco. If his retreat had happened to be to a lab and not on top of that fort, he would have been able to magic phase jump on that army before it could prep. So,
but if there was a scout with it, it might not have mattered.
Yeah.
But
interesting. Okay, well that's a change of fortune for Jotun. Gives Jotun a little more time to pull things back together.
Yeah. I think the real trick for Jotun, and it's something we haven't been seeing him do a lot of, is like leveraging things into good diplomatic outcomes. Like, so can he leverage this with Pelagia to say, hey, Pelagia, you want to go fight Pangaea? How about I let you keep some of the coast and you got this fort from me fair and square. All right, so how about you give me these back and I let you keep this and this as a beachhead and you go fuck with Pan. He needs space to recover, and he needs to vulture.
But Jotun has been really resistant throughout the game to buy off peace.
Right.
He's been very resistant to buy peace. I don't know if he's changed his tune. I haven't heard anything from him suggesting he has. He seems to prefer fighting than diplomacy, and some people do.
Yeah.
Some people, that's how they like to play.
And I know he had, some of the messages he had made some, diplomatic inquiries, which I think I think he has made some diplomatic measures that have been refused by other players. But I'm part of being good at diplomacy is making good deals happen, right? Because sometimes players will refuse your deals, but if they're actually good deals, you should be able to talk people into them or make them be more accommodating.
From what I remember, his deals were not really, he wasn't giving up very much. You know, he wanted a kind of neutral deal, but when you're being pounded in a 4v1, I'm not really sure you can afford to hold off for a good deal. You might have to just
I remember the Satist deal. His Satist deal was basically like, how about I keep these, right? And you can get the throne. Like he was giving up access to the throne. It was like an eminently reasonable deal. But I mean, you're right. It wasn't like a huge concession, but I mean, God, he wasn't asking for much. He was asking for hardly anything.
And then he pounded Satist
and then
he
pounded the shit out of them. So Satist messed up on that one, but Jotun's path into the game involves buying out Pelagia here and vulturing whoever loses the Ashdod Xibalba war and vulturing as much as he can from Vanarus, or maybe striking a deal with Ulm where he gets the southern part of Vanarus.
Something along those lines would set him up to remain a contender in the game.
Yeah.
But he's got a lot of rebuilding to do.
Yeah.
Well, that's about it for him. Anything? His Jotun's Southern Army, that was just attacking a little bit of PD, I think.
Yeah. And we're at an hour 15. We got to speed through here, so I'll try to pick up. Message from Ashdod. YOLO this turn. When faced with a surprise attack at your doorstep, you god drop. I'm fluffing Iron Warriors and Standard Phase. I'm fluffing Iron Warriors Magic Phase and Standard Phase, hoping to still catch his armies despite that open mountain pass. If all goes well, will be 2 successful battles, relying on off-script Shockwave and physical Moss from my new water path to carry the day. Should have about 18 HP a turn of regen from item spells. Really hope he doesn't have imps scripted that interrupt the cycle. Testing showed this works versus unit composition, but didn't account for eye catchers, great swords of sharpness, etc. I saw none, so taking the risk. I need to wipe his army so I can stare down Jotun's advance. Perhaps even TP into Jotun as well, once I have Fell Vapors up. Both Xibalba and Jotun using Frozen Heart liberally now.
Yes. Okay, so where... Oh, he's got a second message.
In addendum, it's just as possible that he tries to knock me off that fort as consolidate next to my cap. I've therefore consolidated my traditional army on the fort to repulse. The god attack and magic phase should prevent one army's movement. The released with 27 protection and 18 pierce should be fine versus Anakites and Maws if they move to the fort. Honestly, I don't know where the released squad should go. Either the cave or the fort. Therefore, I have to have a plan for both. Deciding not to walk into released off the fort, as the fact that I didn't crack the fort says there's between 60 to 80 siege strength left still inside.
Okay.
I showed him a weak breakout attempt in my northwest fort using Conjuration 3 Earth Elementals, hoping to make him overconfident that my research is worse than expected, and walk into the Maws. Okay.
Okay. So let's see his couple of fights.
So, okay, we have... okay, here's the god attack.
And...
So this is the super good hero, which you really, 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 really do not want to lose. I think this is for returning. Which, by the way, there's a chance you lose him in returning. Oh, no.
Oh, retreat. Okay.
Retreat. A little risky, but okay. The Divine Glyph, let's take a look at it. No Bahamut. It's got a lot lower protection than Bahamut, the End Pretender. But similar, we've got Regen 20%, 20 protection, Moss Body.
Moss Body.
Yeah, it doesn't have Flying Shield. It does have a very big Fire Shield. Yeah.
And the shockwaves are making a mess.
Yeah. Reinvigoration is 3, okay.
But shockwave is really low fatigue.
Right. Now, Rigor Mortis is up.
Well, it's an inanimate. I don't think it's affected by rigor.
No, it's not inanimate.
Oh, it's not. Oh.
But 3 reinvigoration is going to be enough where this guy should regularly wake up. And Fire Shield is going to clear the chaff.
Well, that's what's happening. Ghost Grip. Okay.
So yeah, it's going to wake up every few turns. Let's turn on the turn timer. We're at 28.
There's another shockwave.
Oh, but he's got a Drain Life Caster out here. That is a big wrinkle in this. And that's because Drain Life is going to mitigate the Rigor Mortis. Who is the caster? Is it this guy? This guy. Death 4. This guy is undead, so he is immune to Rigor Mortis anyway. And he's got Earth Power. And so he's just powering through here. And I will say, thanks to my casting mod, he is just damn near every turn doing Drain Life. Which is what the worst thing for Ashdod he could do.
That has just wiped out an entire cast of Hidden in Snow.
Yeah.
2 casts of Hidden in Snow.
Yeah.
Gone. Just gone. That's 140 death gems. Well, arguably 100 of it was the troops, but those are gone.
Yeah.
That was devastating.
Okay, and there's a route. And so the life drain spammer ran off. This was actually very close. The life drain spammer got him really low. They got Never Healing Wound on him, which lowered his regen. This was honestly pretty close. In fact, I'm going to go so far as to say, if this guy got in range sooner, or if there were another Death 4 mage at the back who's on cast spells, not advancing cast or something, that just made more chaff so that the HP route wouldn't trigger, I think Xibalba might have won this.
He might have, but I think this was still a very good play for Ashdod. And why I'm saying that is that he could always call this god back. He did not risk hardly anything in the way of gems.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So this was cheap. It was relatively cheap.
Yeah. Saying it was close doesn't mean it was a bad move.
I think it was a very cost-effective move because he just wiped out hundreds of gems worth of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, at least I would argue 100 gems worth of troops.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And he scattered troops all over the place, and he gave himself the chance to. This is very much a Napoleonic kind of maneuver. Is conquer in part. Split the enemy into 2 separate armies before they can join up.
Right. Defeat in detail is, I believe, the term.
Defeat in detail is the word I was trying to, the little phrase I was trying to come up with, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, I was reading some really good stuff that Wellington was also an extreme expert at defeat in detail. And like Napoleon, he would keep his army separated and then bring them together at the last minute.
Right.
And the other one who was good at that was Lee, General Lee.
Yeah.
Really good at that.
Yeah, we've talked about that in previous things.
Yeah. Getting his armies together just at the right moment. Like by the skin of his teeth and forced marches and
And that's one thing I think and honestly it's kind of interesting because you see it play out in Dominions too. One of the things that separates good play, like it's very easy to say, okay, well we defeated him in detail, right? Like that's how we won. We got the enemy to split their forces and we defeated them with our united force. Like, okay, that's obvious. That's easy to do. Oh, it's not easy to do because you have to get your enemy to split your forces. And to do that, you have to split your own forces.
That's right.
And that's what Lee would do. And that's what Napoleon would do. Constantly splitting their forces, drawing the enemy out. And when they're drawing them out, being faster, anticipating better, reacting faster, bringing the right things.
Yeah, and tremendous map knowledge.
Right,
You've got to have.
And forcing that fight that is going to be the decisive fight where you defeat them in detail.
And we're seeing a wonderful example of that right here. This is well done. Very well done.
And to continue that analogy with the Dominion stuff, a lot of times what new players will do is say, okay, well, we don't want to get defeated in detail, so they doom stack around, and they have a single army which never separates. Well, you're never going to defeat your enemy in detail very easily if you just doom stack around, and you're going to get raided to hell.
Well, and doom stacks can be dodged.
Right.
That's one of the problems with doom stacks is you can dodge them. You can run around them. You can And similarly, I would argue that some super combatants, it's the same problem. It can only be in one place at one time, same as a doom stack. But splitting a doom stack, bringing it back together, splitting it, bringing it back together, or like we talked about with Agartha, splitting out small raids of those magnet children, to throw the guy off balance.
Yeah. Agartha is I'll be very careful what I say, but what Agartha has done here in his capital is kind of the kind of paralysis that some newer players get into with, and this could just be he's given up, but is a paralysis that newer players get into where they're like, okay, I don't want to be split up and I need to defend like a critical thing. So I just have my army sit in my cap,
Right. And that's fine to keep your cap for a long time, but it's also a good way to guarantee you won't win.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't win holding your capital.
Right. And, and that's fine to do when you're Pythium and to sit there for like 20 turns and hold it with like budget stuff. But when you have a big friggin' army.
Well, Pythium punched out every time he got something.
Yeah, exactly.
He put a little tiny bit of something together, he would punch out.
Yeah, if you gave Pythium an army like this, he wouldn't be sitting there in the capital. He would be striking out with it.
In 10 different directions.
Yeah.
He was very tenacious, like a pit fighter.
Okay, let's look at the rest of this garbage. Oh, killing 2 Camazotz. Let's see if these were item Camazotz or naked Camazotz. Okay, these were twice born. Okay, twice born. And they're going to do it. Yeah, okay. They get yoinked by some of these Jade Garnet Sorceresses with Summon Imps.
Right. Nice job.
Here, Ashdod is marching out with a bunch of slingers. This guy to do fire elementals, though oddly positioned. Or no, flaming arrows. But I think we have a thug on Xibalba's side. Oh, yes, we do. All right, boys. So we had a way coming into buff. Excellent buff paths. Nature 2 is a great buff path. You can do enlarge. You can do protection. With the gym, you can do regen. Which it looks like he did do. And just a super budget kit.
Yeah. Quite solid.
And let's see how much fire resistance he has. 10. Forget about it.
Yeah. That didn't. Yeah, against something other than that thug, this would have worked, but against the thug, it doesn't work.
Yeah. A big fire elemental, I think he would have probably killed him. Maybe if a big fire elemental pounded on him for a long time.
They're getting a few penetrations, but and then they crouch. Yeah.
He's enraged though, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. But the mage isn't going to get away, or is it? I don't know.
There's a very cool and kind of effective play from Xibalba here.
Yeah, that was a good thug.
Yeah, very cool. And this is something you see in experienced player games a lot, is this kind of like low commitment jousting, right? Like, and it's different every time. Like last turn, he just sent out a couple elementals. Well, this turn he sent out more, but Xibalba didn't keep the same stuff on top. He switched it up. Before he had Zotz on, now he has a thug, right? So, just keeping him guessing.
Well, this is a pretty inconclusive war so far, but Ashdod did a good job of kind of knocking things backwards a bit.
So yeah, okay, let's look at the situation. This fort is cracked, and this army can no longer support it, which means Xibalba can only support it from this army. So I think he can take this.
That's just not big enough. That army of Xibalba's is not big enough. So we should take that fort.
He's raided this with Bakemono, which, he can go ahead and either stealth move these or put pressure on these 2 provinces. This god can teleport on top of this, which is another labbed province he can teleport from.
There? Oh yeah, right.
It's a risky move because there's a lab, which means, these guys, he can equip these guys as thugs, or he can put them on, give them gems. This is a very risky move to jump the god here, but it's potentially decisive.
Yes. Yeah.
And if he does like foul vapors or something, which I can't remember if the god can do, I think he empowered him in water.
Yeah, he empowered him in water because he put up the moss body.
Okay, so it can probably do foul vapors. So that might be the play here, is jump on top of this, because it's mostly, this army was mostly, I think, undead, that you were saying, right?
Largely. So how many of those? 36 and 21. So more than almost three quarters of the unfrozen were killed.
Yeah.
And that's 140 death gems worth of water gems worth of unfrozen.
Yeah.
Now the unfrozen mage didn't, but he only has one.
I want to see if he kitted these thugs out too. We didn't really look at that. Because he has some of these guys who have been thugs for him in the past. These guys...
I don't think so. He used them as magi. And
ooh. Great sword of sharpness on that guy.
That would have hurt if it ever had gotten into position. But the army was too big.
Okay, he's running forward. I'm kind of keeping track of him.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he didn't get into position because this is too many troops.
Yeah, I'm kind of following him. He's right here.
Yeah.
I wonder if his fate was to just get shockwaved to death.
Probably.
He's tired out. He's fatigued out now. Okay. No.
Oh, okay. All right, so he doesn't even come into play.
Yeah. Little anti-synergy there.
Yeah, he lost 4 of his own magi. 5 magi, 2 unfrozen lords. See, unfrozen lords aren't a bad thug either because they start with a bane blade.
Oh, that's true.
And chill aura.
And they're undead, so they were immune to rigor mortis here.
Yeah, but they must have got shockwaved or flamed, one or the other. Those shockwaves were devastating.
Yeah, that was really well done.
Shockwave is a very low fatigue spell.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, Marilyn, but I think this war is about to go sideways for Xibalba.
I think so.
I mean,
think it is.
There's a bunch of angry Anakites. He's got a god that maybe can foul vapors drop this.
That was a lot of gems worth of magic that were lost.
I think if I were Ashdod, I would say, hey, dude, let's peace out with Jotunheim. Let Jotunheim go fuck with other people. And then he's maybe in a position to eat Xibalba.
Well, he's made more than sufficient gains on
right.
Jotun. He doesn't need to grow any more that direction.
And things are sideways enough with Jotun that if I were Jotun, I would welcome, even though, like these, I think this used to be Jotun's throne and this was Jotun's fort.
Well, Jotun had all of that.
Water under the bridge. Yeah. Let it go.
We're talking Ashdod gained probably 8 provinces off Jotun.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we don't have many left to talk about.
What do we have left, Marilyn?
I'm at 9, but Pythium is done, and I don't think there's anything to be said about Bandar.
Let's double check. We haven't really looked at the Ulm Bandar thing, have we?
We haven't talked about Ulm and Vanarus. Oh, and that was just a probe.
Let's see if he got the god equipped.
Little bit.
It needs armor, though.
Better off to use that god to cast some spells if he's got any.
Yeah, until he gets armor on him. But yeah. All moving out over here. All moving out over here. Nothing really to see.
He's gonna crack that fort very, very quickly, and he's put a large enough blocking force south of it that if Vanarus tries to push back, Ulm can just leave that blocking force there.
Yeah.
Vanarus is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Vanarus is playing oddly passive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
he raided out last turn with a bunch of his little inexpensive thugs, the Vanabogs, but now he's pulled them back, maybe to rebuild or grab gems.
Vanarus, if you were watching this, if you don't mind, let us know what you were thinking. Because I can't figure it. I don't know. The only thing that I can make sense of is either you've kind of given up in a way, or you have a research target.
He moved out 3 Vanabogs last turn. They counter-raided. Now they probably have stealthed, so they might be sitting waiting to punch out.
Yeah, no, I get that. He's been doing some low commitment stuff, but this is not the time for low commitment stuff. He needs to roll out, to meet Ulm on the field.
He needs to kill one of these Ulmish armies.
Yeah.
Because he's getting a little bit nickel and dime to death. And his income has to be...
That's horrible.
Terribly negative.
Yeah.
So It's going to get worse, not better.
Okay, so that's
And
this
I'll-
conflict.
Yeah, I think that one's basically done.
Satis we've looked at. Did we do in Agartha?
Yeah,
There
we
wasn't
sure
too
did.
much to talk about. Yeah.
No, just Agartha jumped out with a few raids. That's our 13.
All right.
We're
Well, this is probably our
effectively
longest episode so far. We're at 95 minutes.
Yeah, it might even be worth splitting it, but
Yeah.
up to you.
But it's
Somebody was asking me over on my Discord about what is an optimal length, and it was loggy a little bit. And I said, well, from what I've heard, a lot of your audience likes the 1 hour videos. But
yeah. I think
I don't know
optimal
if
is
I
20 to
answered
30
that.
minutes.
I think that's pretty optimal.
But it's a question of like I'm one of the only Dominion YouTubers that is like still producing tons of regular content.
You're the only one consistent.
Right.
Yes.
Or that's has a fair number of subscribers. There's some guys who are starting up that are getting pretty regular, which is great. But
And I'm
but that's because I don't put a ton of stuff in editing. If I had to sit here and edit and cut these things to pieces and get them, in some ways I subordinate the time to just being able to produce regularly. So anyway, it's a decision. I don't make adequate quality videos, but I'm still making videos. So
depends on what your audience likes. You seem to have a lively, interactive audience. So
yeah,
I think you're satisfying most for what they want.
yeah, we're suboptimal in some ways, but we're struggling to get, we're getting by. We're getting by. But anyway, thank you all who stayed the course and have watched the end. It was a long term, but it was really interesting. There was so much to talk about.
There was.
Maryland, I have to ask you though, as we close this out, before we close this out, who is your money on right now? Who are the top three, and what would you put the odds for each of them?
Oh, well, the top two would be Pan and Vanheim.
Okay.
I don't think there's a clear number three.
Okay.
Given the success that Ashdod just had, he's got a decent chance.
Yep. Okay.
And Pelagia is always going to be a sleeper.
Yep.
But my top money would be on Vanheim right now because he is threatening to take Pangaea's cap.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that Pangaea can pull that giant horde of white centaurs back in time.
Yeah. And I mean, they're going to have to like dodge Bahamut's jumping on them to get back.
Yeah. But you did bring up that we don't see, and I don't know if we'll get to see the Dryad action.
Right.
And that could really change things one way or the other.
Yeah.
But that would be, I would rate that at 1 and 2 would be a toss-up between Pan and Van. And the 3 and 4 would be right now Ashdod and Pelagia.
Yeah. What's interesting is I think Van's success chance depends a fair amount on End. Like if End crumbles and Pan's then Van is in a worse position. But
End is not really showing signs of crumbling just yet.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's it, guys. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me, Maryland.
You are most welcome.
I'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.